In the personal story segment tonight, going after ISIS. We heard Hillary Clinton say she's opposed to sending troops, ground troops in, and Ohio Governor and presidential candidate John Kasich disagrees. He joins us now from Spartanburg, South Carolina. So, Governor, welcome, and just tell us, what's your plan to defeat the terrible terrorist killers?
Well, Eric, look, I mean, the President of the United States ought to rally our friends in Europe, particularly NATO, and we ought to assemble those folks in the Middle East, the Arab countries who supported us in the first Gulf War, you know, the Saudis, the Jordanians, the Egyptians, the Gulf states. And look, this is a threat for them. It's going to destroy them. And we know that that ISIS and their ilk are out to destroy our very way of life. I'm actually stunned to hear Hillary say that. How does she think we're going to stop them? I mean, does that reflect that she doesn't have any experience in this? Because we know that you cannot destroy these people, nor can you take back territory just from the air. So I don't understand what she's talking about.
Governor,
we have to move, and we have to move quickly. I don't understand it.
You would put American ground troops into the fight, into theater.
Yeah, but in a group. It would be a coalition. We don't want just the West to be involved, but we want our Arab friends. And I remember when the former ambassador from Egypt to the United States stood in the Rose Garden with the president and said, we're going to go stop Saddam Hussein. And that was really important then. This is even more serious.
There are a lot of people who say don't put them in. Other people who say put them in. If it required 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, would you be willing to do that?
Well, I'm not the general, Eric. I have made up my mind, and it's not just recently. I've been saying this for months, before anybody else. You get a battle plan together. You get the military folks, the conventional ones, the ones that think differently, who understand special forces. You take your civilian leaders, the ones who are conventional, the ones that think differently. You sit in a room, they give you recommendations, and then you make a decision about what the battle plan is going to be. The most important job of the commander is to agree to go.
I'm your Joint Chief of Staff right here, and I come to you and say, I need 50,000 to kill these guys. I need them now. Are you going to sign off on that one?
I wouldn't talk to just one person, Eric. You have to have a group in there, and you've got to understand what the plan is. And look, I've been through this. I served on the Defense Committee for 18 years. I understand how this works. And I don't answer like one-offs, like, what about this? You've got to have a group of people that think this thing through, and if you don't, you could end up with a failed mission, and we can't afford that here, and we won't. We will be successful if we put together an aggressive battle plan, go on the ground, and, by the way, in the short term, we should be establishing these no-fly zones with sanctuaries to be defended by the Jordanians
zones, Governor, let me ask you, no-fly
Kurds.
Zones, that includes Russia. Tell Russia no-fly zone for them, too?
Yeah. Well, Eric, the way a no-fly zone would work if I were president, you might be able to fly in once and fly back out, but if you fly in the second time, you won't be flying back out, Eric. And look, we need a sanctuary there so these people don't have to leave Syria. We got to help the Jordanians and the Saudis if they want to provide some refuge for these folks. So those are the things I would do in the short term. And, Eric, critically important, we got to make sure that the joint terrorism task forces in this country are properly funded. We have to be able to change the problem we're experiencing with encryption, where we can't hear what the enemy is planning. Right. We've got to have better human intelligence. These are all part of a package to get us a victory and defeat these who want to destroy our way of life.
You brought up refuge. What about the refugees? Talk to us about what you do with Syrian refugees in this country.
Well, you know, my one daughter said to my wife, why does Daddy not want him here? And when she came home from school, I had a chance to talk to her. And I said, look, sweetie, we cannot bring people into our country. We don't know who they are. And there are many intent on destroying us. But frankly, we have to take a pause. And, Eric, a lot of people in the primaries have accused me of having too big a heart. I do have a big heart, but I got a good brain. And this is not a time for the president to jam us. The people don't want it in this country. And it's proper to take a pause until all the security people say that we know what we're doing here.
None. No refugees whatsoever. No women, no children.
None. Well,
zero.
None. Look, just stop. Everybody stop and take a pause until we figure this all out.
Okay, that's all right. Now, one more question. I had one of your plans that you put out regarding ISIS. You said you wanted to develop a Judeo-Christian, and I'm trying to figure this out, agency, department, outreach. Talk to me about that.
Well, we have a Voice of America right now where we used to blast signals into the former Soviet Union. It's not worked very well recently. I would reinvigorate it. And I would talk about what the values of Western civilization are: equality for women, the importance of every life, respect for science and education. And we would want to invite our moderate Muslim friends in, the ones who are condemning the Paris attacks, the ones that are saying their religion has been hijacked, so we can win the war of bullets, Eric.
But how does the United States represent this? Are you talking about an agency, a new agency in government? Are you talking about
no. You
could explain.
Look,
I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, you could. It's no different than something like the Voice of America, where we send a message, both using social media and the more traditional media, to argue what our society represents, and we shouldn't shy away from it. Because it is about a battle of ideas. There are people sitting on the fence thinking maybe I ought to go radical. Look, those radicals favor death, we favor life, and we ought to be telling people about the kinds of things that we believe in the West so that we can be unified to save humanity from people who want to destroy humanity. And so there's multiple ways to do it, but we better get going on this, Eric. Just like we fought communism, we need to fight radical Islam.
Well, I got to get going on this as well, Governor. Thank you for joining us tonight.